If you're in the grow stage, acquisition has to be your sole focus. Getting good at that is what's going to allow you to scale, growing your business and making more money with less work. Welcome to Gym Owner Freedom. I am Scott Carpenter, and I am a former broke, struggling, frustrated, and overworked gym owner that felt stuck no matter what I did to try and improve the business. Once I realized that the answer wasn't what I thought it was, just getting more clients, and after really doing the math on acquisition and churn rates, I realized I wasn't even playing a winnable game to begin with. With my current price structure, mathematically, there was no way I could afford to pay my staff so I could scale up and out of the business, that I could have the time, the money, the impact, and the freedom that I always knew I was capable of. Once I learned how to add value by selling transformational programs to people who needed more than just workouts, everything changed in my life. Today, I own 6 gyms that all run without me, and I am free to pursue my passion projects and work just because I love to, not because I have to. And if that's a goal that we mutually share together, then this is the show for you. I'm going to teach you the framework to make way more money with less clients and open up a world of possibilities to you. Subscribe, leave a review, and tune in every week. It'll change your life. I promise you that. All right, we're rocking it out. What are we talking about today? Very important topic, because this is where a lot of people go wrong with their businesses, and it's very easy to do. I was just talking literally to 2 people already today who seemed like they said, hey, I'm getting business advice here. I'm working on X, Y, Z, and all these other different things, and it feels like we're spinning our wheels and going nowhere. And quite often, it's because we're doing things that we hear we're supposed to do, but in actuality, for your specific business, is not effective, and it's a huge waste of time. I call it like mental masturbation. Like, you're focusing all your time and effort on things that aren't going to move the needle and get you to where you really want to be. And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating, because you get all these ideas. You listen to this podcast and that podcast, and you see this video, and you catch that DM, and you're trying to work on everything. And at the end of the day, the business seems like it's very complicated. It seems like it's whack-a-mole, and you're just trying to keep up with everything, and you can't. And I'm here to tell you, I have been there before. And the reality is our businesses, especially in the fitness business, it's really not that complicated. We do an amazing job at overcomplicating the shit out of our business. And we need to uncomplicate that. And you just knowing exactly what you need to focus on at each stage in the game. Now, where you're at and what you need to focus on might be different than somebody else. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what you should be working on personally today. And this is the exact same process that I've gone through with my 6 gyms. I'm starting up a 7th, so I'm going to be launching, growing, and then scaling that thing. So that individual location is in a different phase than the other ones. But I'm going to, show you exactly what you need to focus on, particularly like if you're under $100,000 in profit versus over. And that's not a hard set in stone profit to lock down and to be in these different stages, but you'll be able to understand really quickly where you're at with this. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, and we're going to dive into, hey, what are the main stages that you can be in? Well, there's the launching stage, right? There's the launching stage, and this is where you're launching your business. Now, what we call launch, this is where we really help you dial in your prices and offers and sell high and mid ticket. Address the 3 different types of customers that are coming in, right? The people who have a really strong pain or desire to change. Those, you need to have a high ticket mentorship for those people, where you're taking them by the hand and helping them walk them through and make these changes in their lives. You also are going to have people who want to get in great shape or maybe lose weight, but it's not a super painful thing or a strong desire to change. That's where you're mid ticket. They should be doing whatever kind of workout that you do, whether it's group or semi or one-on-one. And they should be doing nutrition coaching and having accountability. Some of you do that and you're just way undercharging. Some of you give it for free because you think you need it to sell, and you don't. And then there's the third option, which we all really knock down. That's just giving the workouts, whether it's group, semi, one-on-one. But the main thing is most people are missing out on 1 and 2 in a massive way. You have no idea how much money you're leaving on the table. And just to give you an idea of what those look like, your mentorship for like 9 weeks should be $2,000 to $8,000. Okay. I don't care if it's group, it might be closer to 2. If it's one-on-one, it might be 3 or 4, and you'll have an executive offer, and then you'll have your mid-ticket. That should be a shorter duration, $5.99 to $14.99. And then what you currently do for your workouts. That's number 3. So that's what we refer to as launch. And that's important because if your prices aren't at a great rate where it allows you to build your business like an actual business where you could choose to run it without you, should you want to, a lot of times for you guys, your numbers don't add up and you're not going to get ahead. It's very difficult, or the paid ads won't work because your prices are too cheap. There's so many different ways to go. What's up, Dave? How you doing? And guys, I'm going to explain this stuff, and then we're going to open up to Q&A at the end. And whatever questions you have about your specific business, your specific stage, go ahead and throw them in the comments anytime you want, because I'm going to field those at the end once I present this stuff, and we can kind of lock down exactly where you're at or the questions you have. So one of the first things in Grow that we do, like if you're in the growing stage, you don't need to be doing anything else. I talked to somebody about 2 hours ago, and he's already worried about, like, when he goes to semi-private, really how to deliver the workouts and this and that. And he's trying to get nitty gritty, and he's looking like, hey, maybe should I put in tablets at these different stations or not? And blah, blah, blah. All good questions. These are all things that you want to consider, but not when your business is doing like 10 grand a month. Okay. Like, you are firmly in the grow stage. Your number 1, 2, and 3 priorities are growing your cash flow. Okay. Everything else is a distraction. Everything else is mental masturbation at this point. You don't need to dive in and figure out how you're going to design your comp plans for the next 3 hires. Like, you have to grow your cash flow, get stability with your money, stability in your business, and then you move on to solving those other problems. So the first thing you want to start with is revising your offers and adjusting prices. Do you have offers for the 3 types of clients that are coming in your doors? You need to, okay? Do you have your offers the continuity? After they get done with the initial program, you roll them into a year-long program. What is that continuity offer? And recalibrating pricing. So many of you are charging too low of rates. And I don't want to scare you. It doesn't mean immediately upping the rates on everybody, because some of you have already done that and they're still low, and you know that, but you're like, I can't keep doing it. And I agree with you. So it's reframing it for the people coming in the doors is where you want to start. Then you can figure out old business over the long time, and you can make the better decisions. Why? Because you're not playing scared. The bottom line is if you're profiting $10,000 or $15,000 a month, you aren't as worried about making the changes you know you need to make in your business. So that's the whole point of Grow. We need to grow your bank account. We need to get your bank account ripped, as Dave put it. So, Carl, yeah, how far are your locations from each other? Good question. I don't know. Maybe like minimum, like the closest one, probably like 5 miles away. The furthest, I mean, but I'd say like 5 to 10 miles away on average in the North Valley. And then I've got locations when I'm putting in the Southeast Valley right now, and that's quite a long ways away. That's like 40 minutes away. But it's okay, Carl. Like, they can be decently close together. But yeah, so number 1, make sure your offers, your pricing, boom, is there. Okay. And you need to have confidence with this, because if the numbers don't work out, you're going to have a hard time. You can't scale. You cannot afford to pay somebody to replace yourself in different roles. Okay. So number 2, consistent organic acquisition. We all know acquiring leads is the hardest part of the game, or not even leads. I would say appointments, getting them to show up, butts in the seats. Listen, if we had people lining up outside of our door to get in, this would be easy, right? So, but it's the most challenging part. Now, here's the thing, is that a lot of times people jump into paid. This can sometimes work. It can also be a huge risk, or you're getting subpar results, or you're just increasing your workload because it's so many cold people you have to follow up with. Okay. So if you're in this stage right now, consistent organic acquisition, in order for you to build a self-sustaining business that doesn't run without you, and you want to get there, you have to have a consistent, reliable source of lead flow. Paid is great for that, but it's not always affordable for everybody starting out, or that are experiencing a little bit of a cash flow trouble. Also, you're vulnerable. Meta, Zuckerberg can change one algorithm and can shut down your lead flow for 6 months. It's happened before. You've hit the slaps on Google. You've hit the slaps on Facebook, on Instagram, right? So you can do so much damage with organic acquisition, and it's totally free. Most of us don't know what the hell we're doing. Even if you're sending out emails consistently, even if you're posting consistently, it's just photos of you working out and shit, right? Or eating stuff or updates or general information. But there's no purpose. There's no strategy behind it. And here's the thing. If you're in the grow stage where you really need to grow and stabilize your bank account, acquisition has to be your sole focus. You got to get really good at this. But the cool thing is, getting good at that is what's going to allow you to scale. So, and let's delineate real quick between growing and scaling. Growing is making more money with your effort, right? That is very different from scaling. Scaling is growing your business and making more money with less work, okay? It's about building a business that can run without you. Not saying you want to retire right now, but you'd have the ability to step out of as many roles as you want. Design this business to run without you. That's how most businesses are designed. That's not how most gyms are designed. So you need to be able to build a business that can run without you. So that's why your price point needs to be there. That's why you need a steady flow of leads incoming. When you have those two things, now we've got all the time and the space in the world to build the right comp plans, get you leverage in the right spots, right? But acquisition. So often we're in the weeds designing new t-shirts or tweaking something on a landing page or, right, revising like weeks 4 to 8 in your program. Don't. It's just distracting you from the most important things. And I know why we all do it. It's because one, we're bombarded by different information, but two, this is the repetitive work that we don't want to do, the acquisition. And as soon as we get a few new clients in there, we relax, take our foot off the gas and start distracting ourselves with shiny red balls. So number 1, 2, and 3, organic acquisition, right? Like just boom, pound it. So if you don't know how to do this, you build your pipeline, okay, your flow, and you might have different platforms and channels, but your dream list of customers, former clients are a really good one, consults you didn't close, those types of things. You publish your content, okay, very purpose-driven. And if you haven't seen a lot of our trainings on some of that stuff, they're really good to tune into. Will Schiller, who I think is on this, say, hey, Will, if you're here, that way people can reach out to you if they have any questions. But Will designs all our content and gives it to you every single week. Very purpose-driven. Here's an engagement post meant to get eyeballs on it, right? Open up conversations. Here's a value post that builds value with your audience. Here's an indirect offer post, which can do amazing. We've had people book 15 calls from an indirect offer post, free on social media, not paid. Incredible stuff, right? And here's a client spotlight one, but it has a direct purpose on what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the likes and the comments and the DMs that come through, those are your leads. And you get good at that, you can crush it. You can absolutely crush it. You can go like Hugh Green. We've talked about him before, but he was struggling like crazy, well under 10K a month. Okay. In his first month of doing our organic content acquisition system, he hit his best month ever, all time in business. And in his second month, so just 8 weeks in this, he finished at $38,500 in total revenue. And this is just from crushing organic acquisition. Massively important, okay? It's just knowing how to do it is the tough thing, all right? So once you're growing, you're stabilized, and now you're creating great cash flow. You have the bandwidth to look into paid acquisition. That gets very far. That gets you a lot further because now you're getting leverage on your time already, right? So paid ads, you use your money to bring in the leads instead. Now, there's a million wrong ways to go about this. I have hired the wrong companies over and over and over. Getting a low cost per lead is actually pretty easy. The hard work comes from getting them in the door to show up for a consultation. That's a freaking beast. Okay. If this was 2016, things are super easy, right? It's 2023. Things are difficult. People are bombarded with ads and offers. They are wise to the 6-week free bait and switch thing, right? They are used to low barrier entry things. Those things will keep you poor. All right. So you want to do the right offers and campaigns to attract dream customers. That's the whole point, that are happy to pay for your premium offers and keep paying every single month. And no matter what, if you're advertising on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, there's a lot of lead nurture that goes into it. That's where people really mess it up. It's incredibly time consuming. But if you do it right, and we use a certain provider, if you're wondering who that is, like just throw it in the comments. I'll connect you after. But we use it that will actually run the ads and the campaigns. And then what they also do is call them within minutes, and they act as your own scheduling assistant. So they would call and let them know that they're Skylar, right? And I'm Scott Carpenter's personal scheduling assistant. First step is we want you to get them on your calendar for just a quick 5-minute, 10-minute phone call, just to see if you're a good fit for one of his programs. Boom, they schedule it. It's all in your court now. And you're cutting down on that barrier to getting them to open up their schedule. When they're free, you're free. And speed is king, guys. And when you can just hop on a 5-minute phone call, you can do it in an hour, right? So consistent paid acquisition is the next step. I don't want you doing this until you can comfortably afford to do it, because otherwise you're going to be sweating bullets, okay? So first, really get good at consistent organic acquisition. This is where you're going to master the fundamentals in this kind of stuff and get really good at the sales as well. Then, when your business is stable, consistent paid acquisition. Monitoring your return on ad spend every single month. There's nothing worse than spending $2,000 or so a month on ads and just hoping shit works out. It's not a very comfortable feeling. What I like doing is I like knowing my exact numbers month over month, where I put in $10 here and I know I get out $33 right here. That is how you can grow and scale a business very reliably and sleep very well at night. Okay. So this is the flow. Are you following this? In here, we are not getting into specifics. Like, you just have to make sure your offers and pricing are set. Then you need to make sure your organic acquisition. Then it's paid acquisition. Now, during this time when you're growing and stabilizing your business and you're really getting cash flush, right? We want you on pace to easily do $100,000 plus a year at this point. This is where we're also going to look for very simple leverage points. We don't want you making big mistakes with payroll and hiring. Some of you have already made them, and that's very common. I've made, 20 of them. But this is where we want to coach you to make sure you're not making big mistakes when you hire, or with a comp plan that is actually more demotivating than it is motivating. Very important. This is where we're also going to work on some just basic operational efficiency with your systems, whatever you're using for MMS and CRM. But again, you don't need to dial in and over dial in automations. Like, you are just wasting your time at this point. Okay. This is where you're going to get really good on fulfillment. Your offers for your mentorship, for your nutrition and coaching and accountability. This is where you're going to get really good in here so that you can fulfill these things and renew them for long-term 12-month contracts on EFT. And you're just going to see your business and your EFT stack and stack and stack. Your stability increase. Okay. And yes, we have done for you contract systems, SOPs. Like, you want the basic stuff there, but you cannot spend most of your time in this fourth component here. Okay. Otherwise, you're just going to get none of the important stuff done, number 2 and 3. So what does something like that look like? Well, let me show you a tool that we've just built. So really, this is it. Like, if somebody would follow this and fill this out every single month, it is literally impossible not to make $100,000-$200,000 of profit, be on track to do that within 3 to 6 months. It's just not possible. Now, here's exactly what you do. Is like, okay, what's your target? What's your financial target this month? It should be a new business goal, because again, the focus on acquisition, right? So let's say it's $16,000 in new business. All right. Let's say your main offers, you have a $3,000, $2,000, maybe you got training only, but on average, it's a $2,000 sale. Well, let's say you need 12 consults. That's the focus, and 8 new clients. That's it. So that's the target. And yeah, then just, what are your 2 big rocks this month? What do you have to really focus on outside of that? So maybe you're going to get ads up and running, right? Maybe you're using gymleads.io, which that's not available to the public. So that's why I'm asking you to contact me if you have an interest in talking about that. Those are the ones that run the ads, and they will also schedule appointments directly in your calendar. Maybe that's what you want because your business is financially stable. So you're going to start that. And maybe it's also the point where you're getting a little bit of leverage and handing off 10 of your floor hours a week to your coach. So you are all in on organic acquisition, start paid acquisition. You're doing sales, you're doing the follow-ups and starting to crush that and get off the training floor. So this is just a hypothetical, but here's exactly what you would want to focus on. These boxes right here, all you need to fill in. This will take you 5 minutes or less a day. And this is on the reps, right? If you want to get your business jacked, you got to put in the reps. This is all it is right here. 4 things. Attend PT Legends calls. If you're not a client, attend these live calls. Make that your one that you attend live, right? Because you're going to get a lot from these lives every Thursday, 12 p.m. But outside of that and building your education and surrounding yourself with successful people, 3 things you got to do. You got to spend time every week to build your pipeline out, right? You need to publish your content. Let me go to the sample where I actually got numbers in here. Then you got to publish your content and you have to make relationship deposits. These are reach outs to that dream client list. A lot of them are former clients. You know, you don't hit them up as much as you need to, but you also know when you decide to contact 20 of them, you get 2 or 3 clients back. And that makes a big difference, especially when you've got high ticket offers. Okay. So these are the main things. These are the main reps that you got to do. Then we're going to track the results. How many discovery calls did you do? For those of you who don't know, that's the quick 5 to 10 minute call. That's where we start every single lead because the conversions are so much damn higher and it sets you up to sell high ticket. So how many discovery calls you did, how many consultations you did, how many clients did you get from organic versus paid, and what is the money from organic versus paid? We also want you to track if you lost any members, if you gained any members, and if you had any renewals and how successful you are. This takes 5 minutes to fill these boxes out a day. That's it. Okay. We set your goals up at the start of the month and you just fill in how many you did in each day. Let me show you what this does over the course of a month. All this stuff in yellow is all filled out for you. Okay. We know everything in your box, whether you're in grow or you're in scale and what your main focus is, whether you're growing your business and getting your bank account jacked, or you're in the business of creating a business that can run without you. All of these metrics are filled in for you if you just fill in those boxes above, okay? We know exactly what your average revenue per month is for a member. We know what your churn is. We know what your lifetime client value is. If you're spending ads at this point, we know your short-term return on ad spend. Let's say you all in, you're pretty heavy. You spent $2,200 a month. You only gain 4 clients. But they were $2,000, like a mid-high ticket client. Cool. Your return on ad spend is 444%, right? You put in $1, you get out 444 here. Now you can comfortably and accurately do that every month. And if you've got the capacity to handle the sales calls, you might want to increase it by another $500, $1,000, right? So more importantly, we also know your long-term return on ad spend, right? We know how long people stay. And we know on average what they pay. We know their estimated lifetime client value. We know the return on ad spend. And when you know these numbers, you can operate so effectively, so efficiently, take the emotion out of your business and create something that can build an amazing life for you and your family. So important. So if you just fill in these simple boxes every day, you will have all this at your fingertips and the solutions that we can give you no matter where your sticking point is. The only thing you got to do at the end of the month, fill in your total revenue, your true profit, how many members you started with, and if you're spending money on ads, how much you spent. That's it. You know that it's going to aggregate literally every damn thing for you and populate it over the course of an entire year without you doing anything. And when we have this data, and we just focusing on the basic things that are going to get us there, it's going to happen. Now, what you want to do if you're more in the scale stage. So let's say you're making $100,000 a month. Now, let me find this again. Let's say you're making $100,000 a year, well over that. And now you want to grow the business, but you want to, instead of working 40 hours a week, you want to work 20 hours a week. Okay. Now this is where we're getting into the scale phase, right? The objective here is, yes, we want to make more money, we want to grow that revenue, but we want to buy back your time. We want to build a business that can run without you. Okay. So there's a few different steps that you want to focus on. Like, one is cultivating a growth mindset. So many gym owners get stuck between 2 and 3, or they'll go from 2 to 3, do things improperly, they'll have to go back to 2. Okay. Happens all the time. I've oscillated between that for years before I got shit figured out. And it's an uneasy and frustrating spot to be in. A lot of us lose hope and they just go right back into grow. And they're like, you know what? If you want it done right, do it yourself. And that's fine. Okay. But if that's not truly what you want, it's not that it can't be done. It's just you haven't figured it out yet. So what you want to do in this stage right here is, first of all, we have to cultivate a growth mindset. This is possible. Instead of looking month to month or this quarter or the next 6 months, we got to zoom out. Okay. We got to look 2 to 3 years in the future about how you want to kind of design your life and your business. And you need to make a commitment to your decisions and priorities. For some of you, you need to find your right-hand man that can replace you. Now, you probably tried at that before and kind of failed, or you didn't trust it, or this or that, or you lost them and had to go back in there. These things can happen. Like I said, I've been through the freaking worst of it over the last 11 years. Okay. But it is possible. And the fact of the matter is I've not even just done it once or twice or 3 times or 4 times. I've done it 6 and it's soon to be 7 times. It can be done. So you just need the right plan and you need to commit to it. You need to commit to doing it the right way. So that's important. A lot of us just give up on it, right? We don't think it's possible. We doubt it, or we're just so lost in the weeds, or we're focusing on all those small little shit with redesigned shirts or this or that. And it's just not what's going to get us there. So after we do that, then we really want to do a comprehensive business analysis. We want to really optimize this for efficiency and effectiveness. We want to look at everything, right? Your revenue, your profit, your people, and your systems, and dial these things in, not over dial them in. Okay. Because you're just not going to get a return past a certain point, but they need to be dialed. And sometimes you can just change 1 or 2 things and bam, you can release 10% more profit. And it's better for everybody. It's better for the clients. It's better for the employees, and it's better for you. The third thing we got to do is look at your calendar and energy optimization. You can only do so much. You can only concentrate on so much. Scaling is getting you more in your zone of genius. So you can do what you do really well. You can do the things that you enjoy and start handing off the stuff, right? So we want to identify the low return tasks and the constraints that you're holding yourself back at a certain point. Let's get that off the plate. Had an awesome conversation with Eric earlier this week. He's still on the training floor 20 hours a week. Plus, when you look at like travel time and how much it takes for him to do the workouts, this, that, and the other, like you're looking at like 25 hours a week. He doesn't need to be there because his vision on where he's going to be in 2-3 years, it ain't that shit. So we actually are cutting that out by July 31st, this month, under 2 weeks. We developed a plan. He's going to get rid of it. He's going to buy himself back 25 hours in a week. And it's going to be cheap as dirt for him to do that. And that is going to give him the bandwidth to become the version of himself that he needs to be. So we really want to look at that and make sure you're spending time only in the highest value roles, or at least in the things that give you the most enjoyment, right? And then we're going to work on replacing yourself. When you do this, like your leverage comes from your employees. That's where it comes from. We all know Robert Kiyosaki, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A lot of us are familiar with him. And this is really where we go from self-employed to being a true business owner. Let me see if I can find it here. It's the cash flow quadrant, right? Even though you might have a business with a few employees, a lot of times we're still self-employed. We're trading our time for money, okay? As we become more a true business owner, which is the goal in scale, right? Now we're leveraging people and systems to make the money, and we're not trading our time directly for it. That's the goal. So you need to get leverage with your people. Now, that is about finding and replacing yourself in the different roles, creating the right winning comp plans. Because how many mistakes have you made with comp plans? Holy shit. Over and over and over. And sometimes it's counterintuitive. We build it for like what would motivate us. But guess what? Our employees are not us. And quite often it has the total unintended effect and it's more of a demotivating compensation structure. In addition, a lot of times the comp structures are designed in a way that we pay out too much, and the margins just don't work to get everything done and for us to really remove ourselves and have things professionally done. You should not be running your own ads. You should not be making 50 to 100 cold calls a day from Facebook and Instagram ads. Should be the last thing that you're doing at that point. Okay. You can still do the sales, right? The DCs, the PCs, but for you to stand by your phone, I don't know where mine is at, but for, from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week, so you can get to these people fast, that is not where the owner needs to be spending their time, especially in scale. I flat out don't want that in my life. I don't want to live by my phone for 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. For me, that's just not how I want to live my life. I feel so strongly about that I've actually designed the system where even my GMs running my locations don't have to do that. That is a huge pain in the butt. So it's getting leverage with systems and your people. This is where you're going to need to invest in your employees' development, right? That's a big part of scale. We invite scale clients that we work with, and we train their people. We take them through an 8-week advanced cohort. We put them in Grow, where they're getting mentorship. They're having regular calls and check-ins. People are following up to make sure that they are implementing their programs. They're doing this for you. So that's kind of where we're going in scale, right? And what at the end of the day, what this is going to allow you to do is take action on greater opportunities. Some of you out there want to do another location or 5 or 10 locations. It's totally possible. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay. A lot of you would like to do it, but it's just like you're so in the weeds because you're bouncing between grow and scale, and you just don't have the focus and the exact game plan. So you're doing things out of order and you're scattered and it's not effective. So, but this is the point where you can get leverage. You can do some of these advanced things. Okay. You can do additional locations. Some of you want to keep growing, but hey, I don't want to take the risk of additional locations. I get that too. You can actually bolt on an online coaching business. It's the same thing you're doing inside the gym. It's just virtual. And that's why our high ticket offers play very well. We've helped a lot of people build and grow online businesses because they've functionally gotten themselves out of the majority of the work in the gym. And now they're continuing to grow without the limitations of a radius and 4 walls. And it's been awesome. So like Matt Chenard's a great example of somebody who's crushing it like that, right? Some of you have even sold your gyms maybe. I like holding on to them. If you built them to run without you, that's a cash machine, right? It's an ATM. Keep it. Obviously, full-time, I help other gym owners, but I'm still growing and adding gym locations too, because they are wildly profitable when you do this, the right way. Ultimately, we're going to get into freedom. Okay. Freedom is where your focus can be on the impact that you have with those around you. It is about creating indestructible wealth and opportunity for you and your family. This is where the network and getting in the same group of these people who are doing these big things is very important. The focus is on, yes, creating indestructible wealth and assets. So it's really about tax minimization, right? Capital preservation, investments. And if we liken it to Robert Kiyosaki, we're focusing a lot on the B and the I. So the I is where your money is making more money. Your, not even just money, but your time, your network, and your expertise and your capital, they're all making you more money. And so there's a lot of different things in there that you can do. The main thing is selecting the ones that some of you like. Real estate. I love real estate, right? So I've got a few $1 million in assets there. I love that because it makes me money doing nothing. And there's a lot about financial mindset and theory. This is a lot about building and living and designing your ideal lifestyle. A lot of personal growth and development, because once you realize it's kind of like the Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich. You realize at this stage, like, oh, this is actually easier than I thought to really grow. And that's why, like, the structure I created for multiple locations, having an owner operator as a partner, owning a certain percentage, it's just easy. And it's so much better because I'm going to give this guy an amazing opportunity. And it's also really worthwhile for me. And how many people in the end are we really going to help? How many awesome jobs are we going to create? How many amazing clients are we going to have? So the end goal for a lot of you is freedom, where you can really control your time, how you spend it. Only choose to pick up projects that really inspire you. But you're likely in grow or scale. Okay. I want to urge you, if you're in grow, I only want you focusing on acquisition. Do not spin your wheels doing the smallest little things and figuring out, oh, should I add branched chain amino acids to sell in-house? It doesn't fucking matter. What's the maximum amount are you going to make on that? $14 a month? For how much work and effort and time? What if you put that into learning how to have high and mid ticket offers and selling one more? There's $3,000 you just made. Okay. And you don't have to mess around with the complexity and all that other stuff. Most of you have really complex businesses. You need to trim the fat, just go for what works. So that being said, that'll kind of sum up what I wanted to talk about here. I'm going to open up to some Q&A as well. So comments, I'm going to have to kind of click. I can't always see them all. So fire them off if you have some of these. I'm looking into trying to see the whole screen. I cannot necessarily, but I'm working on that. But before we get right into a lot of those questions too, so you guys know, some of you are in grow, some of you are in scale. Some of you don't even have your prices and offers really built out. We have options and we help you with all of these things. We take you on this path to freedom along these 4 routes. A lot of what we do is teach you at first. We have an 8-week program to really help you drive your prices and offers. And master organic acquisition. And in 8 weeks, the average person, I mean, on the low end, they'll bring in $15,000, $20,000 in new business in 8 weeks, which is incredible. But they get a framework to build their systems so much like mine. A lot of times you guys have seen, sometimes I open up my P&Ls. This is an older one. I just released some that were the full year of 2022. I saw one of my top locations. It's only probably less than 2,100 square feet, but the profit to the ownership was over $300,000. I can't tell you the exact number off the top of my head, but it's pretty incredible, right? And it's a small spot. We don't have a boatload of clients, and it is because we have a very specific framework. And you can actually do this in any kind of business. I don't care if it's CrossFit or boot camp or one-on-one or semi-private, whatever it is, you can integrate that. And it's really about designing the 3 types of offers. Most of you are only doing number 3 and leaving boatloads of money on the table. That is usually where we start with people. But we have an amazing 8-week program. We used to have it a year-long mentorship. We just made it 8 weeks. We launched it with like that last month. And in a week and a half, we sold out all our spots. Reason being, we only take a small amount of owners on at a time. You can obviously tell if you've been in our group for a bit, we're a lot different. We will never sign up 40, 50 people a month and just grab money. And here's a bunch of videos. We're working together 2 to 3 times a week, and we are cracking this damn nut. And yes, if you're in a different stage, right? If you're in a different stage, we start working on exactly where you need to be, grow or scale. So if you ever wanted to learn, like, hey, are you a good fit for us or vice versa? Type call in the comments below and we'll reach out to you and we can set up a quick call. And the main thing is like, guys, we'll just give you the roadmap and where you need to go. Take us through your business. What stage are you in? What do your numbers look like? What are your constraints? Based on your constraints, we'll tell you the 1, 2, 3 things that you should be doing right now in your unique business. And if you want to learn what it's like to work with us, we'd be happy to show you that. The cool thing is, guys, is we guarantee all our results too. We guarantee you that you will make a 100% of your money back in 8 weeks, or we continue working with you forever. Okay. So that's the main thing. Wanted to let you guys know, because some of you guys have questions on the different things that we do. We do a lot of different things, but just comment, call, and be happy to hop on with you. And with some of you, we might just give you a free training and tell you to do that. Right. And if you need more help, reach back out. Okay. So let's get into the Q&A. What questions you guys have? Again, I'm trying to let's see if I can maximize this. Uh-oh, now I'm going to hear my voice on it. Okay. Jay, it's amazing. Changed our biz. Absolutely, Jay. Thanks, man. Do you have Carl asked, do you have a general script? Uh-oh, I lost it. All right, we got a lot of questions. Sorry, it's skipping around on my thing here. Going down. Will you tag me as well? Boom, no problem. Do you have a general script for interviewing, hiring new coaches? Yes, Carl. Yes, we do. It's going to take me a minute to find it. I know it's within not our actual portal, but like our Google Drive filled with certain things. There is a certain one. Interviewing, hiring, I think is a little bit the hard part of it. The hardest part of it is evaluating people quickly. Because correct me if I'm wrong. You hate it. I hate it. Sifting through 30 resumes is a pain in the ass. And and then coordinating a time where you can get in with them one-on-one. You are more likely to take the first normal person and hire them. We just don't put in our due diligence to evaluate a large swath of people, because to get their calendars and your calendars to sync up. And then, you've had one of those interviews where you sit down and you're like, oh shit, I got to spend like 30, 45 minutes with this guy because I feel bad, but there's no way I'm hiring this dude. And that's why when the first normal looking person, talking person comes in, you're like, you're hired. That's what a lot of us do. So here's what I do. Just high looking, right? Yes, exactly. So here's what I like to do. Indeed.com. I just put up free stuff. I haven't paid for anything yet. You might have to in your certain area, but I just run the free ones. I write it a little bit more like ad copy, where it's and I've got the scripts. I can get that to you, Carl. But I kind of write it out a little bit more like ad copy. The big thing to highlight, because if you're a coach or a PT, what's the biggest con of switching jobs? A lot of times, like, you have to build your book of business, particularly if you're heavy on semi or personal training. So if they are walking into a certain amount of hours, you want to list that. It's going to be really compelling to them. And then what I like to do is I have a couple scripts for the two main messages in Indeed, where I can just like click and send it to them. And what I do, I have a booking link to book a really quick, I think it's a 10-minute Zoom call. Maybe it's 5, but I can see them. First of all, we don't have to align it to where we're both physically in the gym at the same time. They can just go out on their lunch break anytime of the day, whatever it is, but they can book in when I'm available for like a 5 to 10 minute Zoom call. Then I can see them. I can see how they talk, how they interact, what they're wearing, if they can figure out Zoom. And if I don't like any of that, I've only invested like 5 minutes in with them and I'm done. And they're self-booking. So we're not going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I have a second script. If I like them, I let them know the next step, right? The last time I did this, the next step was to do a practical interview with Shane at the Desert Ridge location, right? I didn't do those, but I had it set up. And I gave them the contact information. But if it's you doing it, then yeah, next step is I want to have you come in for a practical interview and you do that. But this method, honestly, like you can just whip through everybody super quick and find the right people. So hopefully that helps. Nice. Yep. Cool. Good. All right. Let's see. Teresa, Sydney, thanks for the recalibration. Sirius was about to look at getting different supplements in. Not important. Thank you. Yes, absolutely 100%. And I'm not saying don't sell supplements. I'm not saying don't do these things. But at the end of the day, it's about the 20% of inputs that are going to yield 95% of your results. I have never met anybody that makes serious money from supplements. And I'm not saying don't add it in. I'm just saying that you need to focus on executing the 20% that's going to get you your 95% of results 100% of the time. Once you're able to do that, or maybe you're handing off wherever you're at, then you can look at the other things. But until then, it's a freaking distraction. It is a 100% distraction, and it's what holds everybody back. They're doing 7 different things instead of doing one thing really fucking well. That's the difference, guys. Collectively, the more simple I've made all my businesses, the better off they've all been. The more time I have, the more money I make, the better I sleep. Keep it simple. Okay, Sydney, in touch with Josh Price to go through the monster recap. Good. Excellent. Get some feedback. Perfect. Excellent. And the community itself is supportive and welcoming. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. That's great. And also I realize we're coming up on like 46 minutes here. So We try to keep these not too long because we want you tuning in every single week. So we'll cut it here. Next Thursday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be live inside of the Gym Owner Freedom Group. Come in. If you have your questions, we'll answer them at the end. We'll teach some amazing stuff. As you know, we do not waste your time. So I want you to show up, put it in your calendar, 12 p.m. PST, 3 p.m. EST. Come inside of this group. I'm showing up for you every single Thursday. Really important to me to help you make the changes of struggling or near broke to getting to that ultimate level of freedom, going from grow to scale to freedom like I have. The most rewarding thing I've ever done. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you are ready to start making an extra $10,000 a month or more this month by making more money with less clients and create a consistent flow of high-quality leads, you can learn about what it's like to work with me and how ridiculously affordable it is at CoachScottCarpenter.com. And if you got any value out of this episode, please pay it forward and leave a review for this show. It helps other gym owners find the answers to the huge problems that we all share. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.